Hello and welcome back to the channel in today's episode of Shaking the Family Tree. This particular episode will probably be of interest to rail fans because it concerns a relative of mine who was affiliated with the Erie Railroad. I have several family members who worked for the railroad, including a few that helped build it. These particular pictures were more modern, as you can tell, but they do feature different trains, and I'm going to show you some older stuff in just a minute. The person I'm featuring today is my great-grandfather, Charles Alfred Decker. He was born on February 25, 1875, and he died on November 14, 1935. He married my great-grandma, Emma May Smith, in 1914. He was 39 at the time, and she was 40, and they only had one son, my grandfather. Now, my grandfather does have several step-siblings because Emma was married several times, and I've talked about a few of those in other videos. As you can see, this is a copy of his obituary that I have that my grandfather saved and gave to me. I also have this little ditty. Apparently, great-grandpa was in an accident. He was riding a bicycle and was hit by a car that was passing by, driven by George Coddington. So we have this particular clipping. And in just a moment, I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the railroad memorabilia associated with Great-Grandpa Charles. What you see here are Great-Grandpa Charles's railroad passes. They identified him as an employee of the railroad, and they helped provide transportation for him and his family. I guess it was one of the perks of working for the railroad at the time. You can see this one is from 1931, and then we've got one from 1933. And another one from 1934, and this one included mention of my grandfather. His name is Howard, and you can see that Great-Grandpa Charles was a laborer in the mechanics department. And interestingly enough, my grandpa Howard eventually went on to work for the railroad as well. Now, I've told you about most of the information I have regarding Charles. I did want to show you this as well. It's scanned into the computer. It's a copy of his marriage record when he married Emma, and you can see right there that he was 39 and she was 40, and her parents were there, which was Simon Smith and Mary Brooks, and his parents were there, which were Alfred Decker and Alvina Canfield. In addition to the other information that I've already shown you earlier in the video, we also have copies of the census records showing Great-Grandpa Charles, and his marriage record, which I just showed you, and his draft record as well, and different death indexes. Now, Great-Grandpa Charles actually owned a large tract of land, and I have the original, well, one of the earlier, I shouldn't say original, one of the earlier surveys done of the property, and it runs through what is now known as Poon-Pack Trail. Great-Grandpa bought the property, we assume, sometime around the 1920s, because we have census records, and the census records seem to indicate that he purchased the property from his father, or inherited it from his father, I should say, in the 1920s after Great-Grandpa Alfred died. I have census records showing his whereabouts from 1880, 1910, 1920, 1925, 1930, and 1935. I don't have the 1890 census because, as some of you may well know, the census was destroyed by fire. All of the census, actually, for the country, save for a few areas, was destroyed. So I can't track him during the 1890s. And for some reason, I cannot find him on the 1900 census. I think it may be because he was in the military at that time, and so therefore he did not show up on that. The next time that he reappears is 1910. Now, like I said, the rest of the family was on the census for 1900, but Grandpa Charles was missing, and like I already said, it may be due to his military career. He actually registered for World War I service on let's see, he was 43 years old, and he registered on September 12, 1918, and at the time he was working for the foundry by the name of Swinton and Company, located in Orange County, New York. On his draft record, well, his registration record, which I'll show you in a minute, it says that he was of medium build, had light brown eyes, and light brown hair. Now, I mentioned this property just to show you the difference between the property taxes of today and the property taxes of long ago. You can see here it says Estate of Alfred Decker. That's my great-great-grandpa. It's dated May 11th, 1920. It's the property that I talked about on Peanpack Trail. It was 7 acres, and it was only valued at $125. You can see here, the year was 1912, and you can see that the heirs, which would have been great-grandpa Charles, paid the taxes, and at the time it was $3.23. Can you imagine paying $3.23 on a 7-acre tract of land, a developed 7-acre tract of land? It just goes to show you the difference in value and expenses between then and now. I have a bunch of receipts like this that I'm going to just quickly go through and show you, so you get an idea of what it was like living back in those times. Here's his school tax receipt. You see his school tax receipt was $4.75. So school tax in 1929 for that tract of property was just $4.75. And then you can see here is a receipt from the C.J. Van Uygen General Merchandise Store back in, it looks like 1924, and he bought something for $7.59. Now here's another estate tax piece of paper that was passed down to me. You can see this one was from 1928. For that same tract of land, the tax was $5.17. Now here's one where Grandpa owned land 9 acres on a State and County Highway, or off State and County Highway, and you can see it was $11.50 for that, and that receipt is from 1925. And then down here we've got one 1918, same tract of land, only it was 7 acres. He bought a little at a time, looks like, and the tax was $2.16. Here are a few more. Here's one from 1925, and we've got one from 1926. Again, these are less than $10. 7 acres for $6.45, and we've got 1925, $5.75. Now keep in mind, when you see these prices, that for the time, that was actually a lot of money. For, you know, now we look at it and we think, oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. But back then, that was a lot of money to my great-grandfather and great-great-grandfather. And as you can see here, they sometimes had problems paying their taxes on that property. You can see that was from 1928. And then you can see here, he saved receipts. There you go. There's another one. Here's a few more. Look at, they had installments of $4 a month for taxes back then. And evidently there was a balance of 89 cents or 87 cents, kind of hard to tell, that my family owed for the property back in 1935. There's 1937. Here we have the delinquent tax notices from 1935. And here's another mercantile receipt. You can see that he bought a bag of corn for $1.70 and a bottle of, looks like mustard, for 35 cents. Here's some more receipts. As you can see, they saved a lot of things and passed them down to me, and of course I saved them because of the sentimental value, not because they do me any good at this point. This is from 1927. The taxes were $12.10. I don't know if you notice, each year the amount of property that great-grandpa Charles owned went up. Now, by the time my grandfather passed away, there was a little over 10 acres, I believe, that was divided up amongst all the siblings. So the actual purchase of that property was started years ago by Charles and Alfred, and little by little they just added to the Decker compound. More taxes, receipts. Now, Howard was my grandpa and Emma was his mother, Emma May. This was after, evidently, Charles passed away. And this was when Grandpa Alfred had already passed away, looks like. It's from 1921. 1942. And you can see it was $13.41 for 9 3/4 acres. Town tax was less than $4. State and county was the most. That was $6.65. Here's 1926, 1931, 1923. There's a few more. This was with this moving picture machine ad. I don't know why they saved it. I guess they wanted it. And you can see they spent more money in 1927 for coal at Mr. Venuigen's store. It was $15 for coal at the time. And there's another receipt from Venuigen's for more coal and bags of other goods. And tax receipts. Now this is a receipt from 1920, I can't tell if that's a 21 or a 22, when Grandpa was working for Swinton and Company. It looks like he actually either purchased something, maybe borrowed money at one time, and his bill was $20.56. Here are a few other receipts from those time periods. Looks like he also bought some bricks. The bricks were $7.60, I guess. Oh wait, I take that back. It looks like horse feed and grain he bought from Mr. Venuigen. Here's some more coal. Balance on a bill. Some more old receipts. And you can see this one. International Brotherhood of Firemen and Oilers. That was actually my grandpa, Charles' son. Now, if you want to know a little bit more about his family, his immediate family, you may want to check out a previous Shaking the Family Tree episode that we did on Emma May Smith. That was, like I mentioned, great-grandpa Charles's wife. And there'll be additional videos about that particular family line in the future, so keep your eyes open for those if you want to learn more. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to smash the like button, and if you're not already, subscribe to our channel. See you soon.